Welcome to another lecture on the Chronicles of Narnia. If you are more the reading type, I recommend getting this book and reading chapter 7 instead. Otherwise, welcome aboard. In today's lecture, we will be moving to the 7th volume of the Chronicles of Narnia, called The Horse and His Boy. The theme associated with this particular book, according to Michael Ward's theory, is the planet Mercury. That's the planet. The Mercurial themes, on the other hand, when you think of Mercury or Quicksilver, you might naturally think of time. But that's actually a theme for a later planet. In this lecture, we will be focusing on language. Mercury, the mercurial effects or characteristics, are very difficult to condense into one single word, just like, for example, language. And this was a problem that C.S. Lewis saw as well. We've noticed that Jupiter was Lewis's presiding deity. Mars was probably his first planetary interest, but Mercury would have been a very apt presiding deity for Lewis as well, because Lewis was supremely favored by what the poem The Planets calls the Lord of Language, both as a speaker and a writer. His friend and fellow professor of English, George Watson, in his essay, The Art of Disagreement, calls Lewis the most articulate being I have ever known. Lewis knew Norse, he knew Old and Middle English, he was fluent in Latin, Greek, French, Italian, he knew some German, and he knew Old Welsh. Mercury, like Jupiter, requires rehabilitation, thinks Lewis. But ironically, its essence almost evaded Lewis's grasp. The irony here is that this god of clerks eluded Lewis's clerkly attempts at communicating his nature. According to Ward, Lewis chases after the characteristics in his scholarship, in poetry and fiction, until he captures them in The Horse and His Boy. Let's start with Lewis's scholarship. Allow me to read from the discarded image, as we have done so many times. Mercury produces quicksilver. Dante gives his sphere to beneficent men of action. Isidore, on the other hand, says this planet is called Mercurius because he is the patron of profit, mercipus praeest. Gower says that the man born under Mercury will be studious and in writing curious, but yet with some dull business his heart is set upon riches. The wife of Bath associates him especially with clerks. In Martianus Capellas de Nuptiis, he is the bridegroom of philologia, who is learning or even literature rather than what we call philology. And I am pretty sure that the words of Mercury contrasted with the songs of Apollo at the end of Love's Labour's Lost are picked or rhetorical prose. It is difficult to see the unity in all these characteristics. skilled eagerness or bright alacrity is the best I can do. But it is better just to take some real mercury in a saucer and play with it for a few minutes. That is what mercurial means. The most appealing characteristic to Lewis was quicksilver. This was very instructive and a significant image, as we shall see. Mercury influences the faculty of componendo et divinendo, separating and uniting, that faculty which separates and unites, or analyzes and synthesizes, much like one would do in an Oxford-style tutorial essay. Synthesis, or fusing, the god of quicksilver, is a poetic metaphor for synthesis of disparate materials. As Lewis writes in The Personal Heresy, like meeting drops of quicksilver becomes a single perception. Division, or pulling apart. Maybe that is why Mercury in the Arthurian torso is called the god of theft. Also in Shakespeare's Winter's Tale. Stolen property leaves the owner, joins the thief, is perhaps divided or resold before sometimes being reunited with the owner. This applies to the linguistic side of mercurial action as well. Meanings and spellings bifurcate and also intertwine and overlap, as Lewis explains in his book Studies in Words. Lewis himself is the arch-definer. Distinguish is something he would say in conversation and debate often. He was also fascinated by families of words. As Ward writes, miscellaneous conjugation represented by homophones, homonyms, synonyms, and onomatopoeias. In that hideous strength, the abuse of the power of speech is a main characteristic of the villains. And neither form nor content enjoys Mercury's blessing. Mercury plays a major part in this book. He is the most obviously agental influencing events in the third volume. Language and abuse of language are key themes. Mercury's articulacy overcomes the dumbness or the silence of Thalcandra, called the Silent Planet. The first volume is called Out of the Silent Planet. Dumb silence and abuse of language lead to more dumb silence being the chief symptoms of the NICE, a National Institute of Coordinated Experiments, their devilry. Two views of language battle. The spiritual and the instrumental, or Saint Anne's and Nice's. The dichotomy between the two runs through the story. For example, and I quote Ward, after several pages of his withers, euphemisms, hesitations, obfuscations, and circumlocutions, it comes as a relief to hear, in answer to Jane's question, Camilla's blunt yes. Nice's nominalism and logical positivism are obvious, and Ward calls these two Lewis's least disguised spittoons in the book. As for nominalism, the character Philostrato demonstrates, exemplifies this philosophical position. There is no such thing as man. It is a word. There are only men. Lewis's fiction is a counterblast to linguistic trends of his era. He, in this book, dramatizes Owen Barfield about those who try to cut away and expose all metaphorical usage. They will fail and they will pay. Metaphor rests on the psychophysical parallelism that characterizes the whole universe. Therefore, to deny or to restrict metaphor, the carrying over of meaning from physical things to metaphysical entities, is a mental move similar to the denial of the relationship between material creation and immaterial creator. Now, Philostrato's statement resists imagination's power of seeing beyond mere sensory data, thereby weakening the faculty which also operates in the realm of faith. In Lewis's essay, Bluspels and Lansferers, terrible name for an essay, but that's the whole point. It's a brilliant, perceptive essay. He says it's impossible to deny metaphor because almost all human thinking depends on it. You can only exchange or discard old metaphors for new metaphors. And often the new ones, he says, are actually duller than the old ones. Resisting metaphors leads to the loss of language itself. In the end of the story, Nice loses control of language. How anachronistic it would be to trust to Calvary for salvation in modern warfare. He means cavalry. And later, Wither demands that the Madrigal of Verjuice bet Talthybianize, and realizes that he's speaking nonsense and just panic ensues. Mercury himself, riding Merlin's soul in the story, cries over this riot of nonsense. Qui verbum Dei contempserunt, eis auferetur etiam verbum hominis. They that have despised the word of God, from them shall the word of man also be taken away. Very prophetic words. Ransom and Merlin have actually met like 2 drops of quicksilver, the story says. Now, in chapter 15, the Quicksilver God himself descends. And let me indulge in a slightly longer passage. My wife has stolen my copy of That Hideous Strength, so allow me to quote through Michael Ward. Up till now, they, all those downstairs at St. Anne's, had instinctively been talking in subdued voices, as children talk in a room where their elders are busied about some august, incomprehensible matter, a funeral or the reading of a will. Now, all of a sudden, they all began talking loudly at once, each, not contentiously, but delightedly, interrupting the others. A stranger coming into the kitchen would have thought they were drunk, not suddenly, but gaily drunk, would have seen their heads bent close together, eyes dancing, an excited wealth of gesture. What they said, none of the party could ever afterwards remember. Dimble maintained that they had been chiefly engaged in making puns. McPhee denied that he had ever, even that night, made a pun, but all agreed that they had been extraordinarily witty. If not plays upon words, yet certainly plays upon thoughts, paradoxes, fancies, anecdotes, theories laughingly advanced, yet on consideration, well worth taking seriously, had flowed from them and over them with dazzling prodigality. Even Ivy forgot her great sorrow. Mother Dimble always remembered Denniston and her husband as they had stood, one on each side of the fireplace, in a gay intellectual duel, each capping the other, each rising above the other, up and up, like birds or aeroplanes in combat. If only one could have remembered what they said! For never in her life had she heard such talk, such eloquence, such melody. Song could have added nothing to it. Such toppling structures of double meaning, such skyrockets of metaphor and allusion. A moment after that, they were all silent. Calm fell as suddenly as when one goes out of the wind behind a wall. They sat staring upon one another, tired and a little self-conscious. Upstairs, this first change had a different operation. There came an instant at which both men braced themselves. Ransom gripped the side of his sofa. Merlin grasped his own knees and set his teeth. A rod of colored light, whose color no man can name or picture, darted between them. No more to see than that, but seeing was the least part of their experience. Quick agitation seized them, a kind of boiling and bubbling in mind and heart which shook their bodies also. It went to a rhythm of such fierce speed that they feared their sanity must be shaken into 1,000 fragments. And then it seemed that this had actually happened. But it did not matter, for all the fragments, needle-pointed desires, brisk merriments, lynx-eyed thoughts, went rolling to and fro like glittering drops and reunited themselves. It was well that both men had some knowledge of poetry. The doubling, splitting, and recombining of thoughts, which now went on in them, would have been unendurable for one whom that art had not already instructed in the counterpoint of the mind, the mastery of double and treble vision. For Ransom, whose study had been for many years in the realm of words, it was heavenly pleasure. He found himself sitting within the very heart of language, in the white-hot furnace of essential speech. All fact was broken, splashed into cataracts, caught, turned inside out, kneaded, slain, and reborn as meaning. For the Lord of meaning himself, the herald, the messenger, the slayer of Argus, was with them, the angel that spins nearest the sun, Viritrilbia, whom men call Mercury and Thoth. This is a thrilling parousia, the mimicking of the descent of the Holy Spirit in the upper room in the book of Acts. One of the gifts is the gift of polysemy, the double and treble vision. This book, That Hideous Strength, is holiday reading. It's not unserious, but it's a break from the too serious. It's not realistic. Rather, it's fantastic and even satiric. A well-tried literary form at the time. Some find the finale, That Hideous Strength, the weakest of the three books, and others think it is the trilogy's triumph. George Orwell's 1984 would be the obvious parallel dystopia from the same decade, the 1940s. Through the new language called Newspeak, Orwell satirizes this sort of linguistic reductionism. Every concept that can be needed will be expressed by exactly one word with its meaning rigidly defined and all its subsidiary meanings rubbed out and forgotten. Was Orwell influenced by Lewis? After all, he had reviewed Lewis's cosmic trilogy before writing 1984. Yes, Orwell was aware of the atheistical bent in anti-metaphorical language. Both Lewis and Orwell were against positivist and neo-nominalist movements of the 20th century. It was dangerous for political bureaucracies and scientific planners from bad philosophy to start monitoring and dictating speech, the spoken word. Let's turn to Mercurial poetry now. Some of the Mercurial poems, according to Ward, are Readjustment, The Country of the Blind, The Birth of Language, and obviously the planets. In Readjustment, we hear of the devil's unmaking language. One theory of poetry is that poetry's point is to adjust in readers a proper posture to reality. In the poem The Birth of Language, which you can find in its entirety in the handout, which I won't read, you can read it for yourself. It's a mythic story showing that human language operates at two removes from its original source. So language originates in the sun, then it's transformed on Mercury, and finally it's born on Earth, suffering diminution. Yet verse can lift the curse. So the curse is the curse of Babel. There's a bifocal vision of language, according to Lewis. On one hand, it's the highest possible view, as language is a metaphysical reality with a transcendental origin. But on the other hand, it's subject to severe sublunary constraints. In a letter to Rhonda Bodle from June 1949, Lewis writes, "In a sense, one can hardly put anything into words. Only the simplest colors have names, and hardly any of the smells. The simple physical pains, and still more the pleasures, can't be expressed in language. I labor the point, lest the devil should hereafter try to make you believe that what was wordless was therefore vague and nebulous. But in reality, it is just the clearest, the most concrete, and most indubitable realities which escape language. Not because they are vague, but because language is. Poetry I take to be the continual effort to bring language back to the actual." So language can give access, albeit limited, to the actual or the actual. That is the concrete but wordless realities. At this point, you should hit pause and read the section on Mercury from the poem The Planets, which is in your handout, lines 13 to 27, right after the lines addressing Luna. So hit pause and then let's resume. If you have read it, you may have noticed many mercurial qualities mentioned. The metal, pert, quicksilver, klepticism, patron of pilferers, and this spirit or faculty of componendo et divinendo, same but sundered, expressed also in plural nouns. So pilferers, selves, words, fancies, senses, and this synonyms of joining, meeting, marshalling, gathering, flocking, mingling, wedding, componendo et divinendo. Through this planetary technique, we marry thing with thought in the poem. In this case, Mercury, not through frontal assault on contemplative consciousness, according to Ward, but through participatory cognition or enjoyment consciousness, bringing to mind this distinction between enjoyment and contemplation, or looking along and looking at in Lewis's thought. Readers can feel in dreams the essence of Mercury. And this is attempted in The Horse and His Boy. The Horse and His Boy is dedicated to Joy Davidman's sons, Lewis's stepsons, David and Douglas Gresham. David Gresham passed away a couple of years ago, but Douglas Gresham is still alive and still very active. During my tenure at the Oxford University C.S. Lewis Society, we had him over to speak at least twice. So very generous with his time. Componendo et dividendo, this unify and divide theme, is present, starting with the Mercurial poeima. It's present in the reunion of Shasta, Kor, and Corin. This is the main theme. It's the example of meeting selves, same but sundered, as the poem puts it. Ransom and Merlin were also reunited, you remember, like two drops of quicksilver. Similarity is stressed in The Horse and His Boy. Corin's double, Cor is Corin's double, as like as two peas, almost exactly like as two twins, two peas, two boys, two brothers. All of these are quotes. Other pairs of brothers are also present, and they're probably twins too. Dar and Darin, Cole and Colin. Why twins? Well, it's because Cor and Corin are not just twins, but they're reflections of the twins, the Gemini. This constellation in astrology was ruled by Mercury. Castor and Pollux are models for Shasta and Corin. Homer, whom Lewis said he worshipped, described Castor as a breaker of horses and Pollux as a famous boxer. Shasta does not break Bree. He is already a warhorse, but he does break Bree's pride and self-conceit. Bree himself confesses, at least Shasta ran in the right direction, ran back. And that is what shames me most of all. I who call myself a warhorse and boasted of 100 fights, to be beaten by a little human boy, a child, a mere foal. Corin is based on Pollux, the great fighter. No one, we hear, could ever equal Corin as a boxer. He boxed the bear of Stormness without a timekeeper for 33 rounds. Afterwards, called Corin the Thunder Fist. In Greek mythology, Hermes, which was Attic for Mercury, invented the whole sport of boxing. And Ward surmises whether Cor or Shasta could be a wordplay, a portmanteau suggesting the word castor. There are other twinning images as well, and symmetrical doubles. For example, the huge real moon overhead and the huge reflected moon. The faculty or theme of componendo et divinendo is also present as a dynamic force, not a static image only. It's woven into movement. Many things act like Mercury does, rolling around a dish, for example, rivers. The separating and uniting imagery is consummated in Shasta and Aravis, who become so used to quarreling and making it up that they got married so as to go on doing it more conveniently. Bifurcations are closely related. There's a lot of crossroads in the story, and speed is of essence. To hesitate is to be lost. There's a sense of urgency. Swift horses, swift galley. Aslan is swift on foot. Speed, wonderful chase. Shasta, run now without a moment's rest. Run, run, always run. When chapter 9 ends with the word slowly, we feel, and Ward thinks this is deliberate, that something is dangerously wrong. Mercury was fast. But how and why? Because Mercury was the messenger of gods. The traditional picture of Mercury has him with wings on heels, or a petasus, so a winged cap on head. And interestingly, a Narnian lord appears wearing a cap with little wings on each side of it. Aravis escaped from the planned forced marriage with help of a mysterious chief of the messengers, O dispatcher of messages. Another aspect of Mercury's influence is education. You remember the god of clerks. Shasta's forthcoming education in particular. Mercury inspires the studious and the clerks. Shasta, who had read no books at all, discovers that education and all sort of horrible things are going to happen to him. He's devastated to hear that he's going to be educated. This is fun and funny because the learned Lewis is poking fun at the prospect of learning, and it illustrates the playful mercurial temperament. The Hindu word shastri means one who is learned, who teaches. Is this a coincidence? Another theme, theft. Mercury, you remember the patron of pilferers, so the patron of pickpocketers or petty thieves. Shasta is raiding often, and he's worried that it's considered theft. But Bree assures him that it's only booty or spoils of war. There's also the recurrent discussion of horse stealing. Bree points out that he could have stolen Shasta, not the other way around. In fact, early on, Lewis had considered the title, The Horse Stole the Boy. And then skill in speech, lord of language. This is the chief characteristic of Mercury, a central theme. There's the juxtaposition of Calamine language versus Narnian language. We hear of the loquacity, the idle words, the vain repetitions of Tisroc, may he live forever. Prolix and vapid proverbs, like application to the root of business is the root of prosperity, but those who ask questions that do not concern them are steering the ship of folly toward the rock of indigence. Or, for as costly jewel retains its value even if hidden in a dunghill, so old age and discretion are to be respected even in the vile persons of our subjects. Or, for nothing is more suitable to persons of gravity and decorum than to endure minor inconveniences with constancy. In contrast, Narnian proverbs are brief and pithy and witty, easily in but not easily out, as the lobster said in the lobster pot. Maybe apes will grow honest. Come live with me and you'll know me. Nests before eggs, and so on. You see it in poetry as well. Ahorsta is speaking of Narnian poetry, describing it as it being not like ours, full of choice and apophthegms, instructive, terse sayings, and useful maxims, but is full of love and war. In Lewis's book, Oh Hal, the Oxford History of English Literature in the 16th Century, he says that, well, actually, he coins the word drab for doggerel poetry. And he says that this century luckily turns the corner from or away from drab. The fog has lifted, or that the age of the martyrs has given place to that of the fantasticals, or that Mercury has succeeded Saturn. Language is played out with the two horses as well. While living in Calormene, they pretend not to be talking beasts. There's an exception, by the way, to Calormene drab, and it's Aravis's storytelling style, the grand Calormene manner, which is praised, actually. Lewis had a high view of oral storytelling in the prescribal tradition. As for Quicksilver, the word Mercury never appears, but Mercury itself does. Now, in the periodic table, Hg is hydrarem. I wonder if that's how you pronounce it, which literally means water plus silver, or silvery water, or watery silver. It doubles as a metal. It's solid and liquid. Now, in chapter 9 of The Horse and His Boy, which is called Across the Desert, we read, under the moonlight, the sand in every direction and as far as they could see gleamed as if it were smooth water or a great silver tray. Ward says Lewis can't tilt the tray of Quicksilver, but he shows the effects by a swift sunrise. It lights up the sand instantly, and which it looks like strewn with diamonds. We read. Turning from poema to logos, now, the message. Aslan is one lion in threefold myself, is the main thesis proposed by Ward. So, componendo et divinendo. The encounter with Shasta in the mountain pass in chapter 11 is the high point of the story, and indeed, according to Ward, the high point in the entire Louisian corpus. He is the incarnation of Mercury. Aslan is swift of foot, the living and active principle of componendo et divinendo, of multiplicity in singularity, or singularity in multiplicity, the most explicitly Trinitarian moment in the whole series of the Chronicles of Narnia. And allow me to quote again. So this is from chapter 11, called The Unwelcome Fellow Traveler. Who are you? He said, scarcely above a whisper. One who has waited long for you to speak, said the thing. Its voice was not loud, but very large and deep. Are you a giant? Asked Shasta. You might call me a giant, said the large voice, but I am not like the creatures you call giants. I can't see you at all, said Shasta, after staring very hard. Then, for an even more terrible idea had come into his head, he said almost in a scream, You're not something dead, are you? Oh, please do go away. What harm have I ever done you? Oh, I am the unluckiest person in the whole world. Once more he felt the warm breath of the thing on his hand and face. There, it said, that is not the breath of a ghost. Tell me your sorrows. Shasta was a little reassured by the breath. So he told how he had never known his real father or mother and had been brought up sternly by the fishermen. And then he told the story of his escape and how they were chased by lions and forced to swim for their lives, and of all their dangers in Tashbaan, and about his night among the tombs, and how the beasts howled at him out of the desert. And he told about the heat and thirst of their desert journey, and how they were almost at their goal when another lion chased them and wounded Aravis. And also how very long it was since he had had anything to eat. I do not call you unfortunate, said the large voice. Don't you think it was bad luck to meet so many lions? Said Shasta. There was only one lion, said the voice. What on earth do you mean? I've just told you there were at least two the first night, and there was only one, but he was swift of foot. How do you know? I was the lion. And as Shasta gaped with open mouth and said nothing, the voice continued. I was the lion who forced you to join with Aravis. I was the cat who comforted you among the houses of the dead. I was the lion who drove the jackals from you while you slept. I was the lion who gave the horses a new strength of fear for the last mile, so that you should reach King Loon in time. And I was the lion you do not remember, who pushed the boat in which you lay, a child near death, so that it came to shore where a man sat wakeful at midnight to receive you. Then it was you who wounded Aravis? It was I. But what for? Child, said the voice, I am telling you your story, not hers. I tell no one any story but his own. Who are you? Asked Shasta. Myself, said the voice, very deep and low, so that the earth shook. And again, myself, loud and clear and gay. And then the third time, myself, whispered so softly you could hardly hear it. and yet it seemed to come from all around you, as if the leaves rustled with it. One lion in a threefold myself, as Ward calls it. One God and three persons. This is the obvious theological logos or message communicated through Mercury. It did not start with Trinity, but Mercury, which is the symbols of Mercury most naturally disposed to a Trinitarian orientation, according to Ward. So Lewis found, and we can find, the Holy Trinity in or through Mercury. There is more to the story than just a Trinitarian logos. Aslan teaches everyone to speak in a new way, which encompasses silence. You remember, who are you? One who has waited long for you to speak. As Lord of Language, Aslan came to speak and to be spoken to. Shasta does not start babbling. On the contrary, you remember, gaped with open mouth and said nothing. After one glance at the lion's face, he slipped out of the saddle and fell at its feet. He couldn't say anything, but then he didn't want to say anything, and he knew he needn't say anything. And compare that to that hideous strength. This Mercurial Aslan inspires silence. But it's not simply the absence of words. It's an eloquent silence, a spiritual articulacy, the faculty of mentalese, or thinking without language. Mentalese. In Lewis's book, Letters to Malcolm, we hear that prayer without words is best, that we shouldn't try to verbalize the mental acts always. In The Pilgrim's Regress, taken at their word, all prayers blaspheme. Or Lewis's poem, The Apologist's Evening Prayer. From all my thoughts, even from my thoughts of thee, O thou fair silence, fall and set me free. Until we have faces, the language, the babble spoken in the absence of God's face is only words, words to be let out to battle against other words. Because God is too definitive or definite for language. God is too concrete, too actual for language. And Shasta's prostration, he falls on his feet, is a response that was actual, if not verbal. It was an actual language, if not a verbal language. And in this case, it was more adequate. So how can we learn this? How can we increasingly participate in divine speech? Not by psychological gymnastics, rather, as the Letters to Malcolm expresses it, by the union of our wills, ours and God's, which under grace is reached by a life of sanctity. So this is ironic that Mercury removes the inclination to talk, but he does so only temporarily. It's kind of a baptismal silence, according to Ward, and it gives way eventually to very eloquent speech. Bree, a name pleasingly polysemous, learns a further lesson. According to Ward, Bree is a monophysite, or a Eutychian heretic, which means Bree believes in Aslan's divinity, but not Aslan's full humanity, as it were, or Aslan's animality. So Bree keeps swearing, thanks be to the lion and by the lion's mane, but he doesn't acknowledge the reality of Aslan's lionhood in the story. He's as strong as a lion, or to our enemies, of course, as fierce as a lion. But Bree has emptied language of literal references, and so employs it as a dead metaphor. It's hanging in the air, uprooted from its literal, concrete reference that gives the metaphor life and meaning. Bree suffers from a lack of double and triple vision, and this is an offense against Mercury, which the Mercurial Aslan cures with one touch of his whiskers. So something very concrete and tangible. Why is monophysitism paired with Mercury? Ward thinks that this is probably due to Dante, his depiction of Justinian in the sphere of Mercury, who confesses, I deemed one nature and no more was in Christ's person, and I thought that creed enough. I deemed one nature and no more was in Christ's person, and I thought that creed enough. The opposite heresy, which we learned about in a previous lecture, is believing in Christ's full humanity, but not believing in Christ's full divinity, or Arianism. Interestingly, Lewis has been accused of a similar theological inadequacy in reference to Aslan. So not taking Aslan's humanity, as it were, seriously enough. I too have pointed out the absence of Aslan's mother from the story. For example, Andrew Walker says that God in Narnia is not sufficiently earthed, not so much the God-man who is flesh of our flesh, as the temporary earth visiting God. And surprisingly, other scholars have accused Lewis of the opposite error, of Arianism, so literalism that downplays the divinity. According to Ward, both Walker and the other scholars are perceptive, but they have monoscopic vision. And Lewis's stereoscopic vision retains both the literal and the metaphysical, the metaphorical meaning simultaneously. And Ward, according to Ward, Lewis's understanding of God is that God is both unspeakably immanent and unspeakably transcendent. And to combine both theological perspectives without canceling out their polarity was a bold endeavor and full of risk. If the horse and his boy succeeds, according to Ward, it succeeds insofar as a river of Mercury runs through it. Did you spot the fallacy, the deliberate lapse in argumentation, in logic, that I committed somewhere? Which one was it? and where did I commit it? Check your notes.